Good morning. Hello. I'm Leslie.
I'm Stephanie. Good morning.
And we are the Hand Readers Guild. And we're here with another episode to teach you about reading hands and what you can find out by looking at your own hands. And today we're going to talk about rings and what happens when you wear rings on certain ones of your fingers. Look at mine. We're going to talk about rings. But before we get into that, I want to just mention that we have several other episodes already up on YouTube on our channel, Hand Readers Guild. So if you'll go and take a look, you'll find some other fun stuff that we've recorded. I also want to say that we do these live every Sunday morning, Pacific time, and we do not edit them. So you get us in our natural habitat with dogs barking and us making mistakes and strange things with our green screens. So we just hope you enjoy laughing along with us because we have a good sense of humor about it. And if you are enjoying the things that we're teaching you, we hope that you will subscribe to our channel. We also have a Facebook group which you can join if you are interested in hand reading and you want to learn some other things. We have a lot of diagrams and teaching posts up there, and it's got some really, really good stuff. And if this is a subject that interests you, I highly recommend you join us. And I think that's it for now. Did I forget anything, Stephanie?
No, that sounded great.
Okay. All right. So let's get to talking about rings. So here we have our little slideshow like we have every week. And we're going to talk to you first about fingers. So you can wear rings on any one of your fingers. We know that there's a particular finger most people choose to wear a ring on. Some people wear a lot of rings. Some people don't wear any rings. But these are the names of the fingers that we use in hand reading, except for thumb. Thumb is the same as normal life. But the index finger is known as Jupiter. Jupiter was the head god. The middle finger is Saturn. And Saturn is the god that has to do with authority, responsibility, and time management. Apollo, he was another head god up there. He was a sun god. And he was very, very showy and, bright like the sun. And then Mercury, a lot of you may know about Mercury. You hear things about Mercury retrograde. Also, Mercury wore the sandals with his wings. He's all about communication and quick thinking. So that's a little quick guide to the names of the fingers. Do you have anything to add that I've forgotten?
Nope.
We'll get into more detail as we go through each of the fingers.
Exactly.
So, rings, rings, rings. Some people wear a lot of rings. This is Rihanna. And she's got rings on her right Saturn and on her left Apollo, left Saturn, and left Jupiter. And she's got more than one ring on her middle finger there.
They're stacked.
They are stacked. And then here's somebody who was very famous for wearing a lot of rings. Some of you are probably too young to remember this guy, but I will admit it. I do remember him. This is Liberace.
Do as well. I remember Liberace as well.
Wow, and you're younger than me. He was famous for playing the piano. He was actually an amazing pianist, but he had an act that was a funny shtick, and dressing up in these shimmery outfits and wearing lots of bling was
before Elton John. Yep, before Elton John.
Yeah, and even before Elvis, who also did some of that in his later life.
He did play the piano quite well. He was
he was actually quite
amazing.
The virtuoso.
Mm-hmm.
But the shtick is probably what made him famous.
The flamboyancy.
Yes, that helped him. So all of those rings did a little something for him, and we're going to talk about each of those fingers. And now, so we do know that most people wear their rings on what's called the ring finger, which is in hand reading Apollo. In normal life, we all call it the ring finger because that's where we see rings. So it's most common there. We all know that people wear their wedding rings there, their engagement rings there. But so it's nothing special to see someone with a ring there, but you can be like Liz and have a giant ring there. That definitely makes a difference. Or like me, who also has a giant ring there on both hands. That's a giant ring.
Yes.
Now, so this, by the way, this subject is kind of near and dear to my heart because I also used to be a jeweler. So that's why I have such big rings. So here's Liz's engagement ring that she got from Richard Burton. And this was known as the Krupp diamond before she got it. When she passed away, they renamed this ring the Elizabeth Taylor ring diamond. But this diamond is over 33 carats.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Think about it. Most people, if you get a 1 carat diamond for your engagement ring, that's pretty darn good. And if you get a 2 carat, you got like somebody with some money that you're marrying.
Right.
33 carats. And
Big.
I'm not even going to talk about how much that cost or what that ring went for when it was finally auctioned off.
Wow.
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots. More figures than I can count. So that was when you are wearing a big blingy ring on your Apollo finger. Apollo is the finger that has to do with creativity. It has to do with showiness.
Self-expression.
Self-expression. So, guess what I'm saying with my big rings? Do you have rings on your ring finger?
I normally do not wear rings at all, but I put them on today.
Okay.
So today I have a ring, yes, on my creativity finger.
All right.
And we'll talk about the Saturn fingers in a minute.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so there's Liz's ring. Now, I did a little more research because ring trends do change over the years. They've changed a little bit from when I was younger, but nowadays, some young people wear rings on their ring fingers, a symbol of their commitment to purity. Some of those kids who are taking that pledge. And it's also known that some religious folk will wear rings on their fingers as symbols of their commitment to their vows. So, for instance, nuns. I remember
vows to God.
Yes.
Vows to their God. Yes.
Right. I went to Catholic school as a kid. It was a long time ago. I won't tell you how long, but I do remember the nuns wore a wedding ring because they told me at the time, or this is what I heard, was that they were married to God. So you will see some of that as well. Continuing. All right. So next, we're going to talk about the pinky ring. This is the next most common place that you see someone wearing a ring. So this is Mercury, the pinky. The pinky ring is so common, they actually call them pinky rings. I mean, I remember pinky rings being in and out as a trend when I was younger. It's the finger that's associated with communication and relationships. Now, when I was younger, it was commonly thought that a man who wore a ring on his pinky was looking to get lucky. I don't know why Chris Pine is wearing a ring on his pinky finger. I think there's some new reasons why people start wearing rings on their pinky fingers. But let's go to somebody who was around when I was younger, who had rings on both pinky fingers. And this is Sammy Davis Jr. Again, some of you younger folk might not know who he is, but he was also famous for a little bit of showmanship, less glitzy and blingy than Liberace. But he definitely was all about having a style, a very, very distinct style. So now, two pinky rings when I was younger was definitely considered a communication signal around looking to get lucky. Okay, I'm gonna show you mine. I've got them on both pinkies today. Normally I only wear one, but I did load them up for today's presentation. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other how I fit into that. But it's okay if you want to guess.
It could also be about, like you said, communication style, not just getting lucky, but he was also a comedian and singer. So he used his voice quite frequently.
Yes, he did.
And he was wasn't he part of the Rat Pack?
Yes, he was part of the Rat Pack.
And that pack is a relationship and it's a community. So it's kind of like a communication style in the relationships with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to boost your confidence in speaking and communicating, wearing a ring on your Mercury finger, particularly right Mercury, is one way to do that. Because in hand reading, one of the things we think about wearing rings is that this is a way to kind of like signal to your brain that you want to use the energy of that finger.
Enhances that particular energy.
Right. It enhances the energy. And, if you're into stones and you want to look up the meanings of stones, you can actually even enhance further by choosing the stone that will work on that particular energy as well. So on the left pinky is also associated with relating and communication, but it's also considered the finger of healership. So a ring on your left pinky could help you with that inner communication and where you're listening to your higher self or your inner voice. Now, here's an interesting finger to wear a ring on. Saturn, middle finger. One of the things that makes it interesting is because the planet Saturn actually has rings around it, multiple rings. So in a way, it kind of makes a little sense that you could wear a ring on your Saturn finger. The middle finger represents money and wealth, especially on the right hand.
And responsibility.
Responsibility.
Don't forget
that. Right. Following rules.
Following rules. Paying attention. Right. This is my favorite finger to wear rings on.
Is it really?
Yes. I have worn this ring that doesn't fit it anymore and this ring. And I wore them for a very long time when I was in my career, long-term career. And as I wore them, I kept getting increased income and more responsibilities. And it just kept enhancing. And finally I was like, wait, I'm getting too much responsibility now. I better take some of these rings off.
Wow.
But wow. Yes, it did help me. It enhanced quite a bit.
Good to know.
Yeah, I wore them on both fingers. So both right and left.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, here we have Spike Lee also wearing a ring on his Saturn finger. He's got two chunkier rings on his left Apollo, which is, of course, showmanship. And here he is accepting an award. And he's got a more delicate ring on his left Saturn. Now, left Saturn is the finger of the mentor, as well as one of the fingers that has to do, along with the right, with the meaning of business, money, and all of that. Mm-hmm. So we can think of him also as setting an example when he's wearing this ring. That's some energy that he can bring in. So I thought that was a great image for showing a middle finger ring.
Yeah, those represent him quite well.
I think so too.
He's very behind the scenes and he's very creative and he does mentor his actors when he's working with them.
Right. And yeah. I mean, his very purple outfit also shows that he likes to be a little bit showy.
Well, I believe he's accepting an award for Prince, who had passed away. So he is in honor of Prince.
Wearing the purple.
Yes. And
that
that's
makes
the
sense.
symbol.
The symbol,
that's
right.
The symbol. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So next, we're looking at
Rihanna again.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
So Jupiter is the pointer finger. And of course, people in authority point at you. They wag their finger. You can see me wagging my finger in the little box there. Rihanna
Or the
obviously
loaded
gun. What's that?
Or the loaded gun.
Right, the loaded gun. Right. Yes, the trigger finger.
The trigger finger.
Because yes, the trigger finger. So it helps to push things into action. So it's authority, leadership, power, confidence, assertiveness. There's an element of being an inspiration. Now, she has rings on multiple fingers. Mercury, communication, Apollo, which is, of course, beauty and creativity, and then Jupiter as well. So, she has a little bit of all of that going on. And then last but not least, so just to mention for you folks out there, if you want to enhance your confidence, feel like you have a little more ability to step into your power, this is a great place to wear a ring.
Little self-respect. You need to be respectful or desire respect. That would be one way to do it.
Yes. Yep. I have a little stack that I wear on my right Jupiter.
You have a very big Jupiter also.
I do. I don't really need any more Jupiter.
Right. Leslie will rule the world one day.
Which is why, this is why I've got nothing on left Jupiter. Yet.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So now the last place that you might put a ring, and when I used to teach classes and talk about rings, I used to recommend against putting a ring here. It used to be the only finger where I would tell people you had to be a little bit careful about it. But I kind of think I've changed my tune about that over the years. And that is on the thumb. And thumb rings have become a lot more popular. Yep, I got one on left. My left thumb. Thumb rings, there are historical thumb rings. The oldest historical thumb rings that we know of in museums are rings that were worn by archers for when they were pulling their bow to protect the thumb, which I thought was a cute little bit of historical trivia that I found when I was getting ready for this presentation. Thumb rings, it's really hard to wear big, chunky thumb rings because like with the archery, they definitely get tangled on things. So you can see Meghan Markle here has a very delicate thumb ring. Mine is just a simple band, nothing on it.
Yeah, same.
Right? So what is the thumb? The thumb is actually our most important finger. It is what separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. The thumb is about results. It's about willpower. So in hand reading, we look at the condition of the thumb to see whether a person has the ability to take charge, create success, assert their will, and get results. Did I leave anything out?
No, my dog was being assertive and he doesn't wear a thumb ring.
Good dog.
He just knew what you were talking about. I have willpower.
Yes. Yep. I know your dog.
Yeah.
He does. So I actually don't see as many, I didn't find as many examples of famous folk wearing thumb rings. But apparently this has become quite a bit of a talking point about Meghan Markle because
really?
I cannot tell you how many articles I found about her rings after she married Harry and her fingers and her rings. Apparently this is quite the talk. So, yes, this is a nice example of one, and I don't know what else to say about thumb rings there, but they are something that if you have a lot of thumb in your life already, you might find if you start wearing thumb rings, people might wonder if you might be a little bit controlling, because that is when thumbs go wrong.
And that's a whole nother section of a video.
Right.
When thumbs go wrong.
Right. Well, you know what? We have a whole video on thumbs, don't we?
Yes, we do.
That was one of our first episodes. I think actually one of our best episodes. It talks about thumbs, and it'll tell you a lot about why they're so important. And so if you are enjoying what we're talking about today, you might also want to check that one out.
Yeah.
So anything else we need to say about rings?
I think we did a great job of talking about rings.
All right.
I have noticed that younger generations are actually using more of thumb rings, and they seem to be getting more results recently. So
that's an interesting thing to.
It is. It's just my observation from where I'm at in my little world.
Do your girls wear thumb rings?
Sometimes. A lot of times we don't wear rings at all because we're not going anywhere. But if we go out, they might put all the rings on, every ring that they ever known to man.
All right. Well, I stay home and I still wear my rings.
Yeah.
Like I said, I used to be a jeweler, so it's just one of those things. I get up every day and put on my jewelry, even if I'm not going to be on Zoom.
Yeah. I did notice that some of my rings don't fit the specific fingers I used to wear them on. So that's a little bit of a change. They're either too small or too big.
Yep. I think that happens to all of us. So it could be that you don't need that ring on that finger anymore.
Well, it doesn't fit, so it can't be there anymore. It's a force.
Well, I was thinking in terms of metaphysically.
Yes.
That you may not need the boost for the energy of that finger, like you were talking about before, where you were getting too much responsibility by wearing the Saturn ring on both Saturn fingers.
Yes. Yep.
So
exactly.
Something to think about. I think I need a Saturn ring. I have never had one. It might be time to add a Saturn ring to my collection. So if you are watching this video and you have an interesting reason for wearing your rings on particular fingers, we'd love to hear about it.
Oh, yes.
You can leave it in the comments and we'll come back and check and have a nice conversation with you if you like. Yes, and like I said before, if you are enjoying our shenanigans and what we're teaching you about reading hands and what your hands signify, please give us a like or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hand Readers Guild. And there again is our Facebook group where we are teaching about hands and different things about hands. We have a lot in the Hand Readers Guild about thumbs as well. We did a little section of diagrams on the chakras in the hands, which we might have a video on soon. And what else did we talk about? Finger zones.
Finger zones. Where you want to wear your rings. That's a great place to find out because you have 3 different zones on your fingers.
That's true. A lot of people are wearing them up at the top. They have a name for that, and I don't remember what it is. What kind of, they call that a particular kind of ring.
I have not heard.
I see that description when I look on Etsy, but I cannot remember. I probably should have looked it up before we did the video.
It's okay.
It's okay. Somebody will know, and hopefully we'll leave it in the comments.
Yes, if you would love to leave a comment about the specific ring that you particularly like, if there's like a sentimental value or something brings you good energy or anything to that effect, that would be great too. We'd love to hear about that.
Right. All right. So I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Yeah. And we're happy that you are stopping in to say hello. And if there's another subject about hands you'd be interested in, you can leave that in the comments as well. And we'll see what we can do about making your wish come true. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.